Jesus, 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 Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus. It is so important that we obey God, that we know his voice, that we listen to his voice. If you know some people that are in dysfunctional relationships that are dangerous, have them, send them this live, because I'm about to give you a testimony, my testimony on how God protected me in a dangerous situation. But because I surrendered to other voices, how it has interfered in some ways with my walk. It has caused tremendous delays for me. But where God is concerned, I'm on time based on my decisions. My decisions delayed things. I have been married twice. I've been married twice, and one marriage became very volatile with threats of physical violence. The physical violence did not happen because God protected me, because I listened to him to do what he told me to do for him to get me into a safe place. One of them, there were threats of violence. The other one, it was not physical threats of violence, but there was a lot of disobedience. And if you ever have time, read the story of King Nebuchadnezzar. He was very prideful, and I was dealing with a situation where I was with a prideful, also known as narcissistic person. I did not know what narcissism was at the time. I did not know how I fed into the situation as an empath. These are things I learned after the fact, and understood how that dynamic was working. Even the church, many people in my church were wrong. I was dealing with a situation where someone was saying they wanted to end my existence. And the Lord had sent a warning to me before it all happened. He sent a prophet to me to tell me about this before it all happened. The prophet said to me, he said, Yvette, it's going to get to a point where you're going to think that he will hit you. But the Lord is telling me to tell you that he's not going to let him hit you, but you have to obey his voice. You have to obey him. So I was in the situation, and it was getting volatile, and it was hard for me to obey, because when I say in your face, the person was like in my face. The ex-husband, he's like in my face, he's like yelling, and I'm a fighter. So it was really hard for me not to want to pass the first lick out of defensiveness to the threat in my face, but I didn't. But I can't tell you, the devil didn't have me plotting to do some things, because I felt like, well, God, you have me in this thing and this man all in my face, and I don't know how to deal with that because it's making me scared. So I'm telling God, I was like, I feel scared. He's in my face. We're fast forwarding to after the prophecy was spoke to me. So I talked to my pastor at the time. It's a different pastor than I have now. I talked to my pastor at the time, and he said, well, one afternoon, I had fallen asleep on my sofa. And as I was waking up in the chair across from me, I saw this huge angel sitting there. He had on white with a gold sash and royal blue. He was huge. He had to be at least 8 feet, at least. He was huge. And his arms were huge. He was bigger than any human being I had ever seen. He was huge. And I told my pastor what I saw, and I told the pastor what I was experiencing. He personally knew my ex-husband, so there was a slight relationship. But my ex-husband started avoiding him. He started avoiding church. So my pastor said, Yvette, you have to command your angels. You have authority. You tell them what to do. Now, this is supernatural in many ways, because everything we deal with starts in the spirit realm. And when we understand that, we'll make better and different decisions. I was on my journey to understand that, but I wasn't there yet. I didn't fully get it. And he said, you tell your angels what to do. And he told me to put up a blood hedge of protection around me, and that would prevent him from coming close. So, okay, I started doing that, and I noticed he wasn't coming closer. He was actually standing at a distance from me talking trash. So now I'm less defensive, but I'm still in the situation. I'm like, God, I need to get out this situation. So I was looking for a place to move to. I was out actively looking for a place to move. And the Lord said, no, that's your house. He has to leave. So I'm thinking, I'm concerned. So I'm frustrated one day, and I'm out with a friend, and I'm having these thoughts that I'm going to call the police, and I'm going to have the police come and drag him up out of there. And as I'm having this thought, I instantly have this open vision that I'm in my bedroom and 2 police are in there. And my ex-husband went in the closet and got a piece of steel and SHOT me in the vision. And I was hit right here. So that's right where my heart area is. I was hit here. And as I was standing in front of my friend, my body jerked because I literally felt myself hit with the BULLET. I literally felt myself hit in the natural, but I was having a spiritual vision. Just as I had that vision, the same prophet that had prophesied to me months prior called me. And he said, baby, what's going on? Where's your husband's GUN? I said, I don't know. I didn't even know he had bought a new one. I knew we had some, but I didn't know he had bought a new one that was bigger. It was ridiculously like a cannon. But I didn't know that at the time. And he's like, where's his GUN? I said, I don't know. He said, I keep having a vision. I keep seeing this GUN. And I told him the vision I had just had, the open vision I just had. And he said, baby, whatever you're thinking about doing, don't do it. God is going to deliver you out of this situation. Don't do it, because he's going to get violent if you do it your way. Let God pull you out of the situation. So I'm like, okay. So, it wasn't maybe 2 weeks. It was maybe 2 weeks. There had been an argument, and he threatened to hit me in the head with a hammer, and a hammer was present, but he didn't have it in his hand, but it was present, and he was like gesturing towards it. And I found out then that verbal threats are grounds for a restraining order. So I went to the courthouse, and I was scared. I was embarrassed. This is not supposed to be me. I'm not supposed to be in physical violence and running to the court for a restraining order. So I had a high-minded opinion of myself, apparently thinking I was better than somebody else who was going through that. I had to be thinking that way to be embarrassed. Because if I felt like I was just like any other person that could go through this, why would I be embarrassed? So I had to deal with that. All this is confronting me as I'm sitting at the courthouse, scared. Once again, that prophet called, says to me, baby, my phone is on 2%, but the Lord told me to call you and tell you you're doing the right thing. I wasn't talking to nobody but the Lord. And he called me and said, the Lord wants me to tell you you're doing the right thing. So I went in the courthouse and I filed my restraining order. Then I had taken my son out of the home, and we were out of the home for about a week waiting for the police to serve the restraining order, and I had to go and assist them in serving the restraining order because he was gone so much. Every time they went, he wasn't there. And so he was a night owl. So I had to go early in the morning, and I had to call the police over there so they could serve him. And then once he was out, I had to change all the locks to the house. I changed all the locks. I changed the code to the security alarm and everything. And for months I was stalked, and I had to listen to God. I was stalked. He lay-waited me. He was telling people that he was going to finish me off. He was furious, and I, was alone. I mean, I had a child, but I felt alone. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I had some steel myself, but honestly, I didn't want to use it, but I knew that the situation was so volatile. If I had to defend my life and my child, I'm going to do what I got to do. But that was the purpose of the restraining order, to say, look, just stay over there. Don't come over here, because this ain't working, and these threats of abuse aren't working. I can't tolerate this in my life. You're not going to be threatening me, and then eventually you're going to do it. Eventually you're going to do it. So I had to set a standard, and this is not acceptable in my life. God navigated me through this thing. I mean, I'm telling you, I had to call the police. I had them arrested. I had them arrested like 3 times. I had the court eventually, with the help of the police department in my area, because they had me on speed dial. They had my number and everything. I had gone and registered myself with the police department in my area. So when my number came up, they knew what the situation was already, and they were like hot to the case. I mean, I have to give these police their props. I'm not anti-police. They really worked with me, and they even gave me their personal phone numbers. They were like, call 911 first, and then call my number. I work the night shift, and I'll be here faster because there's a delay when you call 911. They were very helpful. They would walk through my house and check my house for me when I got home, because he'd be out there. They'd find his car, but he took off on foot because he knows they're there. It was crazy. I did not sleep at night at all. He tried to break in. The dogs are barking. The dogs who knew him did not know him. They barked, and they would lose their mind when he showed up, because they felt the spirit that was dealing with him. And so it was hard. It was a hard season for me to walk through. It was humbling, to say the least. It was humble. Like I said, I didn't realize that I thought I was better than other people when I was going through that. And apparently I did. I thought I was better than people. I was so embarrassed. And during the time that all this is going on, I have people saying, God can fix it. Just pray, baby, just pray. He'll turn them around. He'll change them. I had other people saying, girl, he just loved you so much. He wasn't acting like this until you put him out. He just really loved you. If you bring him back, y'all can work it out. Y'all so cute together. Y'all have such a cute family. You know what I'm saying? And then, the church and, the leadership, they praying, baby, just pray, just fast. God will make them do it. And I'm hearing all this stuff, but I'm hearing God say no. And I'm sitting on my steps in the house. I'm sitting on my stairs, and I'm thinking about all this stuff that's coming at me like a storm. Baby, gotta fix it. Just pray for him. Just fast. Turn your plate. All this stuff. And I'm sitting down, and I said something, and I asked God a question about all this. And God said, I give you free will. I don't make you do anything. He said, that's witchcraft. And I can't do witchcraft. He said, I do not make you do. You have a choice. And he has a choice. And he's choosing to be disobedient. He told me he doesn't want me. And because he don't want me, you are mine, and he can't have you. But the church, God don't like divorce, baby. No, but that's not the whole scripture. That's not the whole scripture. That's not everything God was saying. And they were telling me, God don't like divorce. Just pray. He's faithful. He's going to fix it. He's going to fix it. God said the only way I can fix it is if he sells out to me. That I am his God. And he said he don't want me. He can't come back in this house until he sells out to me. And so that was, like I said, that was a serious situation that I had to navigate through. I'm telling you, literally, late at night, stalking. And I was sitting in my living room one day listening to jazz, and I kept hearing clicks over my head, clicks over my head. And I was like, and I kept seeing hands, like 3 pairs of hands, 6 hands, 3 pairs of hands coming at me in the spirit realm. And he was outside. I didn't even know. I kept hearing clicking. He was messing with the door lock, trying to come in. And God made me uncomfortable, so I got up and I'm walking. And as I'm walking, God said, look out the window. And I'm telling you, it was like a horror movie. I peep out the window, and just as I peep, I see him walk past my eyes. Chills hit my whole body. I started screaming. God told me to scream. I'm a quiet person. It's like, I don't want you to find me. So I'm quiet. I'm trying to get to something to protect myself. But God told me to scream. So when I screamed, I don't know what it did to him, but he was trying to get away, but he had been injured in a car accident out trying to find me. He had just had a car accident where he flipped over 3 times. He was out looking for me because he heard I was out having fun. And he was looking for me and flipped over 3 times. And then the next night, he was limping out there trying to break into my house. And the police caught him then because he couldn't run that time. And he got arrested, and he was put away for like 3-4 months. And though that was the best sleep I had got in a long time. I was sleeping in the daytime while my child was at school because I was so exhausted staying up at night, because the man was fast and he was strong. So I was afraid that if I fell asleep and he got in the house, by the time I realized what was going on, he would be there upstairs in the room and it would be a wrap. I never thought I could physically overpower him. So I just stayed up all night. Then my next situation where I didn't obey God fully, and that put me in an ugly situation right now. God told me to separate from my husband, my second husband, told me to separate from him in 2017. I did that. Same situation. It got hot in the kitchen serving God. It's hard. And I always said, I have a high calling in God. And I'd explained to him when he met me, if you want to be with me, you got to be serious with God. If you're not serious in your walk with God, this is not going to work, because I have a high calling in God, and I have determined in my mind that I'm going to serve the Lord with everything in me to the best of my ability. Is it easy? No, it is not easy. It's not easy dying to your flesh. It's not easy facing your fears, but you can do it. But no, it's not easy. I'm not telling none of y'all it's easy. So if y'all see me out here cutting up one day, don't be like, she was preaching. She was all on fire for Jesus, but look at her now. I'm telling you, I'm not perfect. Okay? I'm letting you know I'm not perfect. I'm letting you know I still have hot mess thoughts. Okay? They may not manifest, but I don't know if they ever will. Okay, so no, I'm not perfect, and I don't have it all together, but I've learned a lot, and I'm not where I used to be. And so he told me to leave this person because this person had decided they wanted worldly things. They didn't want God. It was like spiritual prostitution. It's like, God, I'm praying to you for you to bless me. But if God don't give it to me, I'm going to go to the devil to get it. So whoever gonna give it to me, that's what I want, and that's who I'm gonna serve. That's spiritual prostitution. You going to whomever, whatever God gonna give you what you want, that's who you go and you serve. That's what I call spiritual prostitution. So to me, he was a spiritual prostitute. He didn't want to serve God. You didn't want to do what the Lord says for him to do. And I'm looking for the scripture, so I'm sorry if I keep looking down. I'm looking for a scripture. And so I left. God was telling me he was doing some unseemly stuff behind my back. He was showing me things in spirit. So I left. So when I left, God elevated me. I mean, I already had a cute apartment, but he elevated me to a really luxurious apartment. They had a garage attached, everything. It was really nice. My children were happy. We were living good. I was making good money. I had favor getting the place, everything. Moved out. But child, the manipulation and the deception that took place. The devil is crafty. He studies us. He monitors us from the day we enter this world. He monitors and studies us. That's why we have to know God's voice, because he has studied us so much, he can deceive us. And we have an understanding, he's going to pick up the children. I'm going to pick them up from him when I get off from work and stuff like that. So that's what we're doing. And every time he's boohoo crying, when I go to pick up the kids, he's crying, he's grabbing them, hugging everybody. I love you, daddy love you. I'm not trying to be mean or cold, but it wasn't real, okay? It wasn't real. It was pure deception to pull at my heartstrings. Oh, that's the kid's dad, he loves them, and you don't want no stranger around your daughters, and you don't want this. This is in my head, okay? So the devil's talking to me, and I'm like, but God done told me to leave. God told me to leave. So I'm like, so then the children are like, Mommy, we're leaving. He was sitting on his bed crying. And, some of them kind of thought it was a little funny because of what it looked like. But some of them were hurt. That's their dad. And they're crying and they're like, Mommy, he looks so sad, Mommy. And I was like, yeah, huh? So, we're still separated. So now, but he's talking. He's calling me. He wants to talk. He wants to fix it. He wants this. He wants that. So now he daddy of the year. Now, he wasn't a bad dad, but he was selfish. So selfish can be bad, but it wasn't extreme yet, like extremely extreme. God knew what he was doing. So God was telling me to do things according to what God knew. But where the kids were concerned, he was, he was okay. He wasn't abusive, but he was okay with them. But he was deceptive. He was up to no good, and God knew what he was doing. So he was even coming over, helping them with homework while I'm at work until I got home. He's helping them with homework, and then he's leaving. But he's always in my head, always in my head. So then another friend, not in my church, but she's a prophetess. He's talking to her. He's crying to her. He's apologizing to me. I'm sorry. I'm going to change. I'm going to do better. Blah, 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 blah. All this stuff. And she's like, well, Yvette, God says to forgive. How many of y'all been told that and it's been misinterpreted? God says we have to forgive, and he said he's sorry. Y'all could work it out, Forgiveness, yes, we have to forgive, but it's not a license to hold pain and suffering in your life. Forgiveness is a spiritual release. You release all that animosity and hatred and unforgiveness and stuff like that of a person. You release that. It does not mean that when you release that person is renewed, changed, and whole, and now y'all can live in bliss. Doesn't mean that. It just means you, from your soul, release that from you. But it don't mean to pull that person back in your life. You don't have to be nasty and everything to be and that's considered, unforgiveness. You don't have to. It's not being nasty to say, you not living right. You're not living right. But I'm not gonna hold you to what you've done to me. That's between you and God. I'm not in that. But you not living right, and I don't want that in my life. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not unforgiveness. So exactly, Jesus child, you're right. So I'm getting this in my head now. I'm looking at my bills and I'm starting to get nervous. Now the devil did this, making me nervous. I'm a money person. I'm a counter. I make sure I'm a budgeter. I have my little savings over here and this over there, and I sit down every month and I look at what I spent and I remove foolishness and say, okay, I'm not gonna buy this no more because I've wasted this much money. I'm that kind of person. So now I'm thinking, oh gosh, 2 incomes are better than one. This the devil putting thoughts in my head based on what he knows about me. Oh, 2 incomes are better than one. Then he's all, I'm changing, I'm fasting, I'm on a 30-day fast. I'm going to deal with this stuff in me. I'm going to deal with this stuff. Because he had a lot of demons. And a lot of the compassion I had was because he grew up rejected and abandoned and abused. I mean, in many ways I did too. It don't mean that you have a license to be just destructive to other people. You're being destructive when you allow those things to continue in your life. Maybe as a child, you had no control over what happened to you. But as an adult, God is showing you have the authority. We were always in church. We went to church twice a week. I was a praying woman. I had a prayer closet. I'm before the Lord. I'm on my knees. I'm fasting. Every year we fast for the first 3 days. We would shut ourselves in our room, water only, praying. I'm walking the walk. I'm not just there on Sunday like this. Every morning at 4 a.m., I was up praying, talking to the Lord, spending time with God. Fasting, all of that. And he was doing some of it too. But he was straddling the fence. He going wherever he gonna get what he looking for. And he's a narcissist, a closet narcissist. So you really, a covert narcissist. So you really don't see it in your face. It's subtle. And God had told me to leave this man because he was up to no good. And I'm fasting. I want to change. God said forgive. The children need their daddy. 2 checks better than one. All this in my head, but it ain't God. So now we done went out. He wants us to start going out and trying to see if we could work it out and all this, that, and the third. And all these voices are kind of leading me to go, all right, we'll go out. So we do that. And one day we come back to my apartment and we're praying. While we're praying, the demon on him, it was a setup. Okay. It was a setup. Can nobody make me believe this was not a setup from the devil? It manifested on him. So he's going through some changes in his upper body and his shoulders. I'm like, what's going on? So I go to touch, and literally like the hunchback of Notre Dame, his whole back had raised up, and it was like this big hump on his neck and back, and it was hard. And he was having trouble moving his neck and his shoulders. And it was a physical, visual manifestation of a demon on this man. Yes, Jesus, child, he was lukewarm. He wasn't even lukewarm, child, but yeah, because he was more of one thing than the other. But yes, child, yes. So, so now the compassion, the psychologist in me who wants to understand why people sin, why they do it. I want to help you. I want to help. I'm going to pray. All that crap in my head. Oh, Yvette, if you just fast for him and keep praying, look, that spirit manifested on him. He's going to be better. Just keep praying. Your praying wife is powerful. A praying wife could change it. And I am not saying that is not true. I am not saying that's not true. What I'm saying is God is not going to go against someone else's will. He will answer your prayers by sending whatever you're asking. He will send people across their path. He will tell people to talk to them. The word in church will be there. The anointing in church will be there. But if that person has determined in their mind that they're going to do what they want to do, God is not going to challenge that like that. He's not going to make them. He's not going to strip all that off and grab him and sit him down and say, you gonna serve me. That's not God. He gives us choices. So I'm, needless to say, I let this man come back. I let him come back, and I knew I messed up as soon as he walked in my house. He walked in my house with his stuff, my clean, peaceful, organized house with all my happy children. And he put his stuff down. And when the Bible tells you, when you cast out a spirit, and those spirits come back and check the house to see that it's swept clean, and that demon that you cast out brings 7 more, so that's 8. So the demon you cast out brings 7 more, so that your situation is worse the next time than it was before. Well, that happens the same way when you put somebody out your life and all they demons go with them. When you let them come back, all them demons come back times 7. And that's what I felt. I instantly felt all of them spirits rush me. I felt the weight of all of them spirits on me. And I'm telling you, I remember I was standing in my bedroom door and I was looking out, and he walked in and dropped his bags, and I felt it, and I walked in my room and I knew I had messed up. I lost everything in less than 60 days. Everything. My apartment, everything I lost in 60 days. I knew God was upset with me. He did not tell me to let this man come back. I had money in my 401k that I was trying to use to save myself from eviction and all that stuff. I'm calling the place. Where's my money? Oh, we sent it. It should be there already. I'm looking for the UPS man. I'm looking for a check. They don't know. The next day I'm looking for my check. Child, my check the whole time had been at the bottom on the floor of the UPS truck. When the man said, oh, here it is, when he handed it to me, it had footprints all on it. It had been walked on and stepped on. I knew God was letting me know something. That check wasn't even enough to save my situation at that point. It had gotten too far at that point. I lost everything. Ended up in a hotel from my very beautiful apartment and community. Ended up in a hotel. And when I got in that hotel, the things God had told me that I had not seen with my physical eyes, but God had told me he was up to no good. A side of me wanted to see it. You don't have to see nothing. If God said it, that settles it. I'm just telling you, don't be like me. Don't do what I did. I'm telling you this so you don't do what I did. Because from that day to this one, my life has been on halt. Complete standstill. I have not pulled myself out. I have not gotten out. Because I made a mistake and took that joker back in when God did not tell me to. And then once I lost everything, I'm in a hotel and God exposes a phone call. He had walked out and forgot his phone, and I didn't know because he always had his phone. And I'm hearing a buzz and a ring and stuff, and I pick it up to turn the alarm off, and I realize God left this here for me to look at. Because, see, I'm not a snooper. I'm not a snooper. In my first marriage, God was telling me to look at stuff, and I didn't know it was God. And I'm like, I don't snoop. Whatever I need to know, God gonna bring it to me. He was bringing it to me. Some of y'all snoopers, so y'all gonna have to really hear if it's God. Some of y'all always into something, and God gonna give it to you. I mean, the devil gonna give you what you looking for. He gonna dress it up, and it could be nothing. So I was thinking, but God was actually exposing stuff. He was actually letting me know this man was up to no good. So I learned from my first one that if I had just looked in our receipt box, I would have known what he was doing, because we had receipts that we kept for tax time. So I was like, it was right here in my face. I just felt like so foolish. I felt stupid. Now I'm in this situation. This phone is in my hand. So I'm going through it, and I'm seeing that everything God had been showing me in my dreams, everything he had been showing me in my dreams, it was true. It was true. Now I done took this man back in my life. He'd been talking to this girl. She was in another state. So it wasn't a physical thing because she wasn't accessible, but it was so dirty and inappropriate. And I mean, this chick had him on bank accounts, all kinds of stuff he done finessed her into. Long distance, he buying stuff and stuff. He was buying stuff for me with her money. I mean, it was real ridiculous and wild. And I was so mad at myself, I couldn't even be mad at him. He came home, and I'm not, okay, ladies and gentlemen that might be dealing with a trifling female, don't always go off when you get some information. Hush. Build your case. Get all the information you need, because some of these jokers lie so skillfully. The deception will wipe your brain and have you sitting there thinking, oh, because deception is strong. It wiped my mind. I couldn't understand. I was like, why am I mad? Why am I divorcing him? I'm telling you, deception was strong. Build your case. Don't be like, I saw this. No, because it's more. It's more. You need to get all the information, and you need to be like an attorney and lay it out. Yes, Slim Thick, you're right. And I think like that, and I still believe that. But be sensitive, because sometimes he's telling you to look. He's telling you. And that's where I messed up. I didn't think God would tell me to look. And he did tell me to look. And so I looked, and I find the text, the emails, the text messages, all the stuff, all this and that. Now she working 2 jobs to pay off the bills that this man done created on her bank accounts. And when he got home, I just said, you know what? I was a complete fool. I can't be mad at you because God never told me to take you back. I said, he never told me to take you back. I said, but a leopard don't change their spots, and a tiger don't change their stripes. And as sure as your name is such and such and your behind is black, you gonna do it again. I said, and I promise you, as I stand here before God, Yvette Renee, standing here before God, I promise you, I'm gone, and you will never have me back. Because now I done walked into the situation, I felt like I had to see it through, because I done said I'm going to accept all this mess in my actions. So I felt like, okay, I got to see it through. 2 years later, I'm in my, not even 2, but about 2 years later, I'm in my prayer closet. I'm being evicted from another apartment. I'm in my prayer closet praying with my 3-day notice, where we had the money. We had the money, but the joker went spend it on what he wanted to do and used the children as justification to spend up all this money. And the children didn't know what was going on, so they like, yeah, daddy, da, 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 da. They don't know what's going on. I'm saying, no, we cannot do this. No, we cannot do this. So now when they see that we about to get evicted, they don't challenge mommy no more. They were like, mommy, why you didn't tell us? I said, because we grown folk. I'm not supposed to tell y'all everything going on between me and your father. Me and your father are supposed to be able to work this out as the adults in this house that are guiding you children. So I could not tell y'all that. But now you see what I was saying, because mommy was extra. They don't challenge me no more. From that day, they don't challenge me. Mommy must know. Mommy knows something. Because I don't like to make a ruckus like that with the kids. Yeah, you know, when I was yelling and acting stupid in the bedroom, they would hear me fussing. But just out there, just like that, just sitting the kids down and going through all of that I'm not doing. And I was in the closet praying, and God said to me on my 3rd day of my fast, he said, you did not trust me. You did not believe I could provide for you. You did not believe I could take care of you. You let fear pull him back when I never told you to take him back. He said, so how's it going for you? I'm holding this 3-day notice. I mean, God was upset with me. I'm holding 3 days. He said, how is it going for you? How is he doing? Providing for you. I boo-hoo cried. I was so ashamed. I was scared because I had upset the Lord. I was shamed because I'd been made a fool of. And God said, my covering is not on this marriage. That meant if he out there dipping his wick somewhere and it come up with something on it, I can get that thing. I mean, it goes bigger than that, but see, that's where my mind froze right there. So I just shut it all down. I told him, I said, this marriage is a wrap. I'm done with you. I'm gonna leave you. I told him right after I came off my fast, I'm leaving you. And I have to say, there was some women of wisdom. They told me, they said, Yvette, you shouldn't have told him that. That's dangerous. Well, in some cases, ladies and gentlemen, you should not tell, because that person might flip. That person might flip. I didn't feel a threat like that from this person, but they can flip. I mean, my first one flipped. So he flipped. And so, like I say, you have to really assess your situation to be safe for you and your children, because some of these people, they're a quiet storm. You might think, oh, he ain't gonna do nothing, he this, and they're a quiet storm. And then when it snaps for them, they lose it. And you need to be safe at all costs. But I said something. I closed up shop, and that was it. We lost the place, and I was deceived. The same man who was fasting, demon manifesting on his neck. I ain't never saw that again. That demon did that on purpose. That demon knew that I was going to react the way I was going to react when I saw, oh, he's trying to get delivered. That demon knew that he was controlling this man. That demon knew, just like I'm sitting in this driver's seat right now. When you playing with the devil, you giving him the wheel. That demon knew he was in the driver's seat and my ex-husband was in the passenger seat. He knew he had control of this man. So now he playing with me. And I fell for it because I didn't listen to the voice of the Lord and I did not trust him. This was 2017. I took this man back. 2019, I said, I'm going to divorce you. 2020, we had COVID. The day I filled out my divorce papers, the courthouse shut down. I could not file my divorce papers for several months because of the shutdown. I had to hide my papers at someone's house. The end of 2020, when the courthouse reopened, I filed my papers. And from that time to this one, because I took that man back against God's will, I have never obtained a home again. I'm not saying I'm not going to get one, but I had a beautiful apartment at the time. God showed me the house he was going to give me. I thought I was going to get it while I was with my ex-husband. I didn't get it because I took him back. When I tell you this house is gorgeous, it was gorgeous. I missed out. There's no way I would be in the situation I'm in now if I had not taken that man back. God was not going to demote me from where he put me out of obedience. He showed me the house that was for me. A prophetess said, that's your dream house, Miss Yvette. And I said, for real? And God said, because I let this man in, he said, I can't bless you with him in your life. The blessing's for you, not for him. He was disobedient. Since I left, the man don't even know Jesus. Then turned into a grand wizard, a sorcerer. And I have not obtained because I went back. I did not listen. I didn't follow even that gut instinct that was like, it's 20 years I was with this person. So it's like, I'm used to the roller coaster. I know he say one thing and do another. So the devil had to amp it up. He had to manifest. Oh, she gonna believe it now because she's a deliverance. She's in deliverance. I believe in casting out demons. Oh, we gonna cast this demon out. Hey, Shell. Miss you at church. We gonna cast it out. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, we gonna get this demon out. We gonna get all these demons out. Child, please, the devil was playing with me. He was playing with me. So I'm telling you, don't listen to, if you're in a volatile situation, you know what you living with. You know when you in the bed, you uncomfortable laying next to this joker, whether it's a male or a female. You know you uncomfortable. You know they not wrapped tight. You know what they saying to you. You know they out here in the street. You know you done went to the doctor and your test came back that you need some medication because they out here doing dirt. You know what you are going through. If you are in church and your leadership telling you just to pray, God gonna fix it. Well, he will fix it, and it may not be fixed the way you want it to be fixed. It may not be fixed the way you think it's going to be fixed. That marriage may not work because it takes two people to decide, two people to decide. Are we going to walk with God or are we not? God will give an unbeliever a window to get it right, but he's not going to make that unbeliever an anchor. He's not going to be an anchor to you, to hold you back. He will let that situation until he gets out of you. He squeezes out of you what he wants out of you. And then he will pull you out of it. But you have to be prepared to let it go. Don't be sitting there holding on and all emotional. I love him. I love her. Let me tell you something. I understood. I learned in these situations what that movie, what that song, what love got to do with it means. What does love got to do with anything? I want you to think about this. I love both of my husbands, both of my ex-husbands. I love them. I still pray for them. I still hope above hope that something happens for God to save their soul. But the fact that I love them, they still doing the same stuff they were doing when I was with them. 30 years of the same sin. So just because you love somebody doesn't stop them from doing crack. Just because you love somebody don't stop them from being an alcoholic. Just because you love somebody don't stop them from gambling. Just because you love somebody won't stop them from busting your head to the white meat. What does love got to do with it? Just because you love someone don't mean you sacrifice your life literally for them. The kind of sacrifice God is talking about is godly sacrifice, dying to sin. That's what he's talking about. Dying to sin to save your family. That's what he's talking about. Sin is fighting your spouse. Sin is cussing your spouse out. Sin is threatening your spouse's life. Sin is adultery. Sin is all of this stuff. God is not going to hold you in bondage to these types of things. You have the right to leave under adultery. You have the right to leave under threats and or under real physical violence. He's not that kind of God to have you sitting up there as a punching bag. It's in the scriptures when he talks to the men about how they treat themselves. You won't abuse yourself, don't abuse your wife. And that's what it gets into when it's talking about God doesn't like divorce. He's telling the husband to treat his wife well, because if he don't, God hates divorce. That's the whole thing. Not God hate divorce. So you sitting up here, oh, I don't want to disappoint God, but this, and he just, your whole head get knocked in. Okay, God, but I know you don't like divorce. That's a lie from the pits of hell.